Welcome to Straight Talk on Social Media. This is Ian Desher, Digital Marketing Specialist from Pivot, talking to you. A reminder that on our GoToWebinar control panel, you have an option to put in questions. So if you want to ask any questions as I talk today, go ahead and put them in there. Today's topic is driving sales with social media, and we'll get into that in just a few minutes. But as usual, we'll go ahead and talk about some recent news first. So one bit of recent news is that Twitter is now shortening its own URLs, its own web addresses, when you type them in within Twitter. So instead of having to go to a site like bit.ly or something like that to shorten your links, now you can just paste the links straight into Twitter when you are typing in a tweet, and you'll see this little notice. You can see in the graphic here that says link will appear shortened, so that you're not limited by the length of that link to your 140 characters, and yet you're still not having to go to an outside service. So this is sort of one more way. Twitter's been doing various things to sort of cut out reliance on third-party vendors, and this is one more thing that they've done. So I've been trying it and using it on the Pivot Twitter feed, and maybe you've noticed it as well on your Twitter feed. So just one more thing that they're adding to try to keep you within Twitter. Speaking of Twitter, if you all read about or watched Apple's announcement about the iCloud and their new iOS, you may have heard about this, that Twitter gets a very special place within Apple's new operating system for the iPads and the iPhones and things like that. So what will happen is that basically anything you come across on the iPad or the iPhone can be automatically shared using Twitter, which is part of the operating system functionality. So you can automatically tweet things that you find. Dave Morin, who is the CEO of a company called Path, and who I think he used to be with Facebook, he called Twitter the luckiest company in the world because of this revelation by Apple, because Twitter is really getting a boost being associated in such a close way with the super popular iPhone and iPad. Facebook is sending out diplomats. An article said that with 70% of its more than 600 million members outside the United States, Facebook is creating its own foreign service. They're actually hiring ambassadors from places like India and Ireland and other countries around the world to represent Facebook with foreign governments and foreign cultures. So they are actually, Facebook is If Facebook were a company, given the number of users it has, it would be the third largest company in the world. And so now they are actually acting like a company and sending out their own diplomats. So I thought that was some interesting news. And speaking of Facebook, just about an hour or so ago, before this webinar, I found this study that has just come out from the Pew Research Foundation. And it says that it talks about how many of your Facebook friends are strangers, and it turns out that the average Facebook user has never met in person with 7% of their Facebook friends, and another 3% are people they've only ever met in person one time. I thought that was a pretty remarkable statistic, and I haven't counted any time recently, but I think I may be guilty of it as well. But it's interesting to just think about exactly what a social network means by that word social, exactly what we mean by calling somebody a friend, that sort of thing. Just an interesting tidbit from there, and I'd be interested to hear from everyone on the call today about whether or not 7% sounds right to them. Toyota made an announcement a few weeks back that it is setting up a social networking service with help of Salesforce and Microsoft, so that drivers can actually interact with their cars in a way that's similar to posting on Facebook or Twitter. The example that they showed was that a person plugging in their Prius at night and then getting a message from the car that says the charge is going to be completed by 2:15 a.m. Is that okay? And actually, even before that, the car had sent the owner a message saying, "Hey, I need to be charged tonight." So this is something that Toyota is doing in hopes that it's going to connect Toyota lovers with other Toyota lovers and also connect them with their cars in a new way. I'm not exactly sure how I'd feel about getting a friend request from my car, but you know, this could be the way of the future. We'll follow this and see what happens with it. Groupon has just announced a new service called Groupon Now. Basically, what Groupon Now does is it allows companies to set up deals that have no real expiration date. The traditional Groupon used to be 24 hours and now has sort of become a 2 or 3 day kind of thing usually. Now what companies can do is set up a deal through Groupon that they can turn on and off at any point, but it'd be something like 50% off your sandwich at Subway, and it's something that Subway could control which locations get it, that sort of thing. And the idea is that the consumer then has an application on their smartphone, the Groupon Now application, and what they can do is they can say, "Oh, I'm in this area right now." The phone knows using the GPS where they are, and so they can use the Groupon Now app to say, "Are there any deals locally to me right now?" And it doesn't have to be a deal that's within a 2 or 3 day time frame. It can just be a deal that a company has set up with Groupon to run sort of indefinitely. And then when that person finds that Groupon, then they can go ahead and can buy the Groupon as usual, and then take their phone to the company and just have the company go ahead and scan their phone so that the person can get the deal. So Groupon is clearly hoping that companies will want to take advantage of sort of longer-term deals in hopes of catching traffic of people who aren't necessarily getting the Groupon emails, but may just be in the neighborhood looking for a way to save money. So, and I should add to this that Groupon is letting companies for a limited time introduce a Groupon Now offer for free for no extra charges. So. Just something interesting that they are trying out, and I'll be interested to see how it turns out for them. Now, our one to watch this week is a site that is sort of mid-launch right now. It's called freemoney.com. Now, of course, you've heard the axiom, there's no such thing as free money, and you would be right about that. The way that this works is, as you can see in the graphic here, you register with your financial institution. So what you do is you say, "I'm a Bank of America customer, and this is my account number and my bank card information." And then based on your spending habits, which your financial institution gives to freemoney.com anonymously, they don't tell Free Money who you are. They just say this particular individual has spent money at these particular places. And then Free Money will send you deals back through your financial institution. We'll send you deals so that you can, if you've been spending a lot of money on clothes recently, then you might get a Free Money gift certificate to Banana Republic or something like that. And the way that Free Money works, it's a little bit different than Groupon. The way that Free Money works is that you would just get a $25, for instance, just a $25 gift certificate to Banana Republic through Free Money, and you would be able to use that, and the first $25 you spend at Banana Republic are in fact totally free. You have to use the bank card from the bank that you registered through Free Money with, but then that first $25 is charged to Free Money, not to you, and any additional monies after that would then be charged to your card. So if you spent $35 at Banana Republic, that first 25 gets charged over to Free Money, and that's just like a gift certificate, and the last 10 gets charged to you. So it's a really interesting model for a way to do a deal site. I said they're sort of mid-launch because right now what they're letting you do is they are about to announce which financial institutions they have made partnerships with, and they are going to be letting everybody know what those are pretty soon, and presumably trying to add more and more financial institutions as time goes on. So an interesting new service, and we'll follow it and see if it turns into a big deal. So that's the news, and now we'll move into the focus, which is straight talk on driving sales with social media. We talked a lot in social media about building relationships and ways to promote your company brand and show some personality and that sort of thing. But really, social media can also be a tool for sales. And so I want to talk a little bit about how that works and give you some ideas for how that happens. And the first thing that I want to do is talk about ways to measure the return on investment of using social media. Because this can be a little bit slippery. I once heard it said that, the ROI of social media is like the ROI of taking your customer out to lunch. So it's sort of undefinable. Well, there are some specific ways or specific tools that you can use in some cases to get an exact idea of what your ROI is using social media, and in some cases to at least get a better glimpse of it. So let me just give you some ways to measure social ROI. First of all, customer surveys. This can be as simple as having your customer service representatives ask people how they heard about a particular offer, a particular deal when they call in, and to note if that person says that they saw the ad on Facebook or noticed an offer on your Facebook page. There was a study just out from Ogilvy and Chat Threads about people who purchase food in restaurants. And what they found, they did these customer surveys as people came into the restaurants and purchased. What they found is that consumers who were exposed exclusively to social media, so they only knew the restaurant through social media, they showed a higher level of purchasing and likeliness to purchase than consumers who were exposed to social media in tandem with other advertising platforms. So it seems that people who are only seeing your social media messages may actually be spending more with you than people who are seeing a range of media. And this was true for the restaurants mentioned were KFC and Wendy's as a couple of them. So just really interesting statistic and so a way of measuring the ROI then is just finding out from customers, how did you find out about us and which of our messages are you seeing and was it primarily through social media that you came to us? Another interesting way to measure social ROI is to do a social-only campaign. So maybe you are putting out a Facebook ad in your area offering a special deal, and that special deal is not mentioned anywhere else except through that Facebook ad, or except on your Facebook page, or except through your Twitter feed. You get the idea. And maybe the discount code that people are using is something like Facebook 2011 or something like that, so that you know for a fact that if people are taking advantage of that deal or buying that product using that discount code, you know that those people then came through social media, and you can determine, based on the success of that campaign, how many people are seeing your social media and are taking advantage of it and purchasing because of what you're putting out over social media. A third way are the social interaction metrics. Facebook, for example, does give you a lot of really good information about how people are interacting with your company page. They obviously give great statistics on how people interact with your ads as well. And I'll say more about that in just a minute. But do go ahead and take advantage of the tools that Facebook and other services give you for tracking how many people are coming to your page, how often your posts are being seen, what the demographics are of people coming to your page, and that sort of thing, because that's all going to help you determine your ROI when it comes to the amount of time and effort you're putting into social media.